everyone. Welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the watch along. We're here for Dundalk versus Molde. Paul will be watching Rapid Vienna versus Arsenal at the same time. Guys, how are we?
Good. How are you, Paul?
All good. Just fresh back from a run. Can't even speak properly. I'm that excited.
Yeah.
How are you, Gar?
Yeah. All good. Looking forward to it. Hopefully Dundalk can get a result, but it'll be tough tonight.
Yeah, I didn't do any sort of research on Molde or anything like that, so I'm just generally looking forward to seeing what they're like. Obviously, good Norwegian side. Solskjaer used to be their manager. That's about and Erling Haaland used to play for them. That's about as much as I know about them.
Yeah, they just beat the league. Well, the champions elect Bodo Glimt. They beat them 4-2 there recently. So and they were unlucky not to qualify for the Champions League. So this is they've fallen back into the Europa League group stages now. So yeah, they'll be a tough nut to crack. And you don't get any bad Norwegian sides in European competitions anymore. So it'll be very difficult for Dundalk tonight.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Rosenborg or something. They were always a good kind of side in Europe up until recent times. They were always a team that I always remember Irish teams get. I remember Shells had played them a good few times when I was younger. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what way they set up. I'd like to see Dundalk get an early goal, take the lead, and see what happens from there. Paul, in the other game against Vienna, obviously you're an Arsenal fan. I'm a Shelbourne fan. So, what are you expecting from Vienna?
Well, I just done a little bit of research on them. They were lucky in the Champions League qualifiers this year. They got knocked out in the third round by Ghent. Now, it was only one leg, so you don't know if it was two legs, whether they would have done better or not. I haven't seen much of them. A couple of years ago, they knocked Rangers out of the Europa League, which would be a bit of crack for all those Irish lads. And they have a lad up top called Taxi Arches Fountas, who got 20 goals last year in all competitions. So he's been shouted as a bit of a threat. So it's just be interesting to see, even for Dundalk's case, what these are like and like what they can do. Like, see if Dundalk actually have a chance getting out of this group as well.
Yeah, I would like to see, Dundalk, obviously, I know majority of their players, and I'm sure you lads would as well, from, going to matches and covering the games and stuff like that. So you obviously want to see players who that back pass was a bit... So obviously you want to see players who kind of do well. Same way we want the Rovers to do well when they played Milan. I think Dundalk, this will be obviously a closer game than the Milan game, I feel. I feel as though Dundalk could actually maybe get a result here. I'm not, without kind of getting too optimistic. And I would love to see them get a win in the group stage. It would be brilliant,
Yeah, they did really well in 2016. I mean, they drew their opening game away in Alkmaar and then beat Maccabi in Tala, which was a fantastic start. And in many ways, they were a bit unlucky not to come out of the group. They did really well against Zenit home and away. I think it's going to be a lot tougher now. I mean, this is a tough draw. And it would be great. I think it'd be even great if they could avoid defeat in the first game, just to get a draw. A win would be fantastic, but just avoid defeat and get a good start to the group. Because if they were to lose first game at home, then you're going to the Emirates, then you're going to Vienna. I mean, it's going to be really, really tough to get anything in the next two games,
especially against Arsenal. That's next week away, isn't it?
Yeah, it's away next week.
Yeah, I know that because I was meant to go to it, and the Ryanair cancelled my flights about 2 weeks ago. So they obviously knew that there was going to be a lockdown before us, and cancelled them in advance.
Terrible.
Well, look, it beats having to quarantine for 14 days. Gary's done. Are you still in quarantine, Gary?
I think it's finished today. It's a bit of a dispute, but I got a text from the government this morning saying thanks for doing it. So I think it actually finishes on day 14, so the morning. So as far as, it doesn't make much difference, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah.
So whether it finishes tomorrow or today, it makes no difference to me. But as far as I know, it finishes on basically this morning.
Yeah, well, yeah. See, I just I don't know if I could quarantine for 14 days. I'd like to get out do something. You know what I mean? So fair play to you, Gary, for sticking out, and you're gonna have to do it again now.
Yeah, you can still get
Sorry,
out.
what?
I mean, you can still get out for a walk and a run. You're not. It's restricted movements are the rules. So you're actually allowed to go out and exercise or just go out for a walk. It's
Okay.
you can't do any training or meet up with friends or teammates or something like that. Not that's all cancelled at the moment. Not that I'm playing any football these days anyway. You know.
Manager, you should be a manager.
Oh, I don't know.
I hear Steadfast United are looking for a second team manager, Gary.
You're not that desperate, are you?
I think we actually are. But we'll see how that goes.
Tactical nous from Gary Spain.
Oh, champ! He'd be winning the club would be winning the double.
Yeah.
Give the club a little shout out here. I have the little top beside me.
Oh.
Wow. But no, it's yeah, because you're going to be going to Wales and obviously now to Wembley for the 2 games next month. So that's why you'll be quarantining again next month, kind of coming up to Christmas.
Yeah.
Although that probably suits you very well, does it?
Well, yeah, I don't think it makes it doesn't matter too much in lockdown anyway. That everything will be shut. It obviously means I can't come back between the England game and the Wales game, of course.
How long is the period there?
It's only England is on a Thursday night and Wales is on the Sunday, so
3 days or something.
Yeah, I just go over I think I'll go over on the ferry and just come back straight after the Wales game then.
Oh, that's good. It's in Cardiff. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
so I'll drive a bit of a drive to London, but probably probably safer just with COVID and everything, just to go in your own car and keep away from everyone, you know.
So you get the ferry and drive, yeah?
Yeah.
That's actually a cool idea.
So
you should vlog it. That'd be a deadly video, Paul, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, savage! Like two great games to go to as well. Like I'm very jealous, very jealous.
We'll have our time in the future, Paul. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, the Wembley.
Hopefully.
I'd love to go to Wembley. Like when they played in 2013, when there was loads. I didn't go, but like a few of my mates did, and they said it was fantastic. Like, and we were 1-0 up as well that night. So great, you know.
Yeah, even though it's a friendly. But anyway.
There's always a bit of something about it after what's happened.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, but I just mean, you know, you're saying you're jealous there, and as I was saying, like your time will come, like you will get a chance to go over, but might not be England, but something else, you know, in the future or whatever. When we're back allowed to have a couple of people going to games and stuff like that, eventually, one day, whenever that is. But Dundalk here, just sorry, Gary, go on.
I was just going to say the World Cup draw, we actually got news of that in the last hour or so. It's going to be on the 7th of December, and we could end up getting England in that as well, of course.
Well, good save, Gary Rogers. Dundalk have started well here. I think it's kind of been a couple of chances to them and a couple of chances to Dundalk. But they look solid defensively. I really like Daryl Leahy and Sean Gannon. I just have a thing for fullbacks.
Yeah, I see Sean Gannon's got his place back from Sean Hoare had been playing at right back quite a bit. So
more of a natural
an interesting
right
one.
though.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Molde
Paul
looked very
Helston.
big to me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with big Scandinavian outfit, Gary, you know yourself. They're always going to be like that. Like I go back to Rosenborg. Do you remember them over the years? Like they were always kind of the same, and they had a couple of players. They'd always get results. Go on.
They've played here a few times. They played Dundalk before, as people will remember. They also played Shells. They played Bowes. They played Sligo, I think. So we seem to have drawn them quite a bit.
Molde played Sligo once as well, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, a few years ago.
it was a bad ball.
I think
just
another
think-
thing. Another thing about Rosenborg as well is a couple of years ago, Leipzig got semi-finals of the Champions League last season. They knocked them out of the Europa League one year when Celtic were in the same group as them and put Celtic through to the next round. So they're like these Norwegian sides; they're always decent as well.
I was going to say last year Shamrock Rovers beat Brann, which was some achievement. And now I know Sligo actually beat Rosenborg in one leg, but I don't think we knocked the Norwegian side out. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments now, because I'm thinking out loud. But I don't think we knocked the Norwegian side out of Europe since, I'm thinking going back to Athlone Town in 1975, if I'm not forgetting anything. Someone remind me if I have. But Athlone Town knocked out Vålerenga in 1975 and went on to meet Milan in the next round. And I am struggling to think of another Norwegian team that we've knocked out, apart from Shamrock Rovers beating Brann last year.
Did Chelsea not beat Rosenborg one year? No.
I don't think
I remember
Shell's
when I
knocked
was
them out
young, we
now.
got it. Maybe it was a result at home or away, and then they won the return leg, because I can't remember. I was really young at the time. I just remember going to a game with my granddad. I'm pretty sure Shells won the home leg. Maybe that was what I'm thinking of. But you talk about SK Brand there. I remember they played Everton years ago in the UEFA Cup. Everton actually hammered them 7-1. But that's how I knew SK Brand. But Rovers made that look very easy beating them, I felt. Is that the one where Jack Bird dinked it over the keeper? Lovely little turn, little swivel and chip. Or was that Apoel?
No, I think that was Brann. Yeah, that one was Brann.
Yeah, they made light work of SK Brand, I thought. And that was kind of the start of Shamrock Rovers doing well, like really well, to the momentum that took them to the cup to what they are now. I think anyway, they were really good. And Aaron Green went on a real surge after that kind of period of time. He scored a worldie in the game they got put out, and then he went on and started banging in the goals on a more regular basis. And then they obviously went on to win the cup. Well, in fairness, the way Dundalk finished that season last year, bar the FAI Cup, Dundalk had an absolutely unbelievable season. But I don't know why it ended up that everyone just started talking about Shamrock Rovers the whole time. And Dundalk had won, I think, 3 cups: the EA Sports Cup, the Unite, the Union. What is it, Gary? The Unite, the what?
Unite the Union Champions Cup, I think it's called.
That one where they hammered Linfield, and obviously then they won the league as well. But they had a really good season with Vinnie Perth, and then it was also kind of they lost against Rovers in Tala, which was a brilliant game at the start of the season. Feels like a lifetime ago now. But Dundalk go on.
Okay.
He's offside. Pat Hooben there. I thought they were in. Sean Murray, good bit of pressing there. But anyway, let's turn this. Phone's hopping here beside me. Yeah, but I just found it funny that everyone was talking about Rovers, and then it was just a quick turnaround, and the next bit of Vinnie Perth was getting sacked after the coronavirus, and it's just been all kind of mad. This is still pretty much the same core of the team there. Like, not a lot of players have left. They've only really strengthened the team, I would say, and that's why I don't think a lot of the Dundalk fans were getting a bit they weren't feeling down, or they didn't feel like the team were getting worse, because they were still able to bring in players like Dara Leahy. I know Daniel Cleary's there, and Sean Hoare's there as well, and they've got Andy Boyle, Brian Garton, so they've really good strength and depth there. Then they've got Sean Gannon, and as Gary said there, Sean Hoare has been playing right back. Then they brought in David McMillan as well there recently enough, who's been shrewd enough to let Georgie Kelly to go on Pats on loan. So I think
Dane Massey at left back as well is another good option at the back. Yeah,
he's just injured at the moment. I think that's the reason he's not in the squad. Like, Darrell Lee more than earned his place, and he's really good for the under 21s as well for Ireland. I think he's got a really good future with Dundalk, and will probably move on to bigger and better things in the future in the next couple of seasons. I think he'll be more inclined to go to England more so than Sean Gannon was. I think Sean Gannon's just been really unlucky. I would have loved to see him get a cap. It's just in that right back position, we've just been so blessed over the years that we've had so much good quality there that unfortunately, maybe if he played left back, he might have got a look in at some point. But Seamus Coleman, Matt Doherty, Cyrus Christie, you've got Darragh O'Shea there, who's probably going to be more of an option than him at the moment as well. So I don't think, maybe a miracle he might get it. I'd love to see it because he's a top lad and a great player. But actually, up there with probably out here, he is probably the best right full the League of Ireland's ever seen. Gary, you could dispute that if you like. But I'd say definitely, if you look at what he's won and the amount of times Dundalk have been in Europe and all these things combined, he's right up there. For me, probably is the best.
Yeah, I was just going to show a comment there. If we talk about the best right full from Michael, and who's the best player ever to play in the League of Ireland. So
we'll come to that after. Talk to me about the right full there. Just remove the comment because it messes with the squares there. See that? Okay, we will come back to the comment though.
Okay, the best right foot. Well, I'm going to come back with my Limerick bias because one of the ones I saw with Limerick was Pat Nolan, another player who was desperately unlucky not to get a cap for Ireland. He was a regular in League of Ireland sides. I know a Limerick bias here. He was actually on the bench for a few internationals, including a competitive game against Cyprus, and just never got a minute on the pitch. Played for the League of Ireland loads of times. So that's my shout for the best right back in the league. Who else? Owen Heary was a great shout. Sean Gannon, as you said. Let me think. Who else was? I mean, there's been a few going back as well. Dundalk fans might.
I grew up. Yeah, I grew up on Owen Heary. Like he was like my idol at Chelsea.
I seen him playing a lot for Bowes as well when Bowes won the league 2 years in a row. He was brilliant those 2 years, and just after he joined as well.
What we say, Gary?
Just there was a free kick there for Dundalk, but it's gone well wide. Yeah,
it was brutal free kick. But anyway, so you're Pat. No, Paul. Who would yours be? I was coming to you.
Right back, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had to say you had to pick a best right full in the League of Ireland ever, who would it be?
It would have to be Owen Heary for me. Just like even I seen him at the end with Shells, and then when he went to Bowes, he was brilliant. Gannon has to be up there as well, just for consistency. The last while for Dundalk, he's been fantastic, and he's been unlucky not to play for Ireland, as you said. But for me, I'd have to go for Owen Heary just because I just seen him in his prime. Well, not in his prime, but like he was still kind of coming towards the end, but he was fantastic. So Owen Heary for me.
Did he not gravitate into a centre back around that time then? No.
No, it was like the first couple of years when he went to Bowes, he was still playing right full, and then maybe towards the end after that he did. But yeah, I remember him still playing right full for Bowes when they won those two leagues. Anyway, definitely.
Yeah, well, I think if Sean Gannon can, really go on and play for 7, 8, 9 more years, which is only like 28, and he went to centre back. I think he can really prolong his career there because he has all the attributes. Defensively he's very good. Going forward, he's really good anyway. But if he was to lose the attacking ability and focus on the centre back, kind of is similar to the situation Seamus Coleman's kind of in now. I think Gannon could go down as probably the best right full ever, just in terms of longevity as well. But for me, I think at the moment I'd be going for Heary, but that could be just a Shell's bias. But I think definitely by the time Gannon retires, I could almost hang my hat on him being the best right full, in my opinion. Now on to the best player. I would have to say Wes Hoolahan, from my experience. Gary, you've seen quite a few, Gary, I'd imagine.
Okay, well, I'll name someone I never saw. who many people, including my father, would have said was the greatest of all time, was a player called Paddy Code of Shamrock Rovers, and a Waterford man. Played briefly for Waterford, but the best days were with Shamrock Rovers, and had loads of caps for Ireland as well. Another Limerick man I'll name who got 11 caps for his country was Al Finucane. Another bias. But Al was a fantastic player. So I don't know if I get accused now of a lot of bias on this show so far. But I'll go with those two at the moment. Paddy Code as arguably the best ever, and then Al Finucane, who played for Limerick and Waterford, and briefly with Newcastle West as well.
Paul?
Yeah. Just for me, from going to look games and seeing him so many times down the years, I'd go for Joey and Doe. Just watching him live, he was a fantastic footballer, and he was obviously capped by Cameroon. I think he was in one of their World Cup squads as well. Now, don't quote me on that, but just every time you've seen him, brilliant. Won the league with Bowes, won the league with Sligo. Fantastic.
I think he was in the O2 squad, was he not?
He had the Cameroon squad.
Yeah, it was
always
the
Cameroon squad. Yeah, he was in both. He was in the 98 and 02 World Cup squads, and definitely a great shout. Yeah.
Yeah, as I always remember when he got onto Soccer AM for doing the show about the trick against UCD. Unbelievable! Like obviously he done more than that. Like that was just a bit of skill, but fantastic to even see him in that. Like he was a great footballer.
I think there was so many in that Shells team that you could say as well. I'm not just saying it off Shells. Like I'm sure there's plenty of players from Dundalk in the 80s and before that. And obviously when Dermot Keelian always playing for them, they had some unbelievable players and were obviously very successful. Then obviously you have Rovers over the years, Bowes over the years. There's so many teams that so many people would have so many different players that they would pick. But I think Wezzo is a fair shout. And when you hear someone like Owen Heary say Wezzo was without doubt the best, then for me, he played with Ndo and he played with all them. So I'm going to have to just take Heary's word for it. And from what I've seen from, and obviously what he did at the Euros and stuff like that for Ireland at the age that he was at, to be doing it at the highest level. And he's still doing it now at, who's he with now in the League Two?
Cambridge.
Cambridge, yeah. He's still doing it there. Like, he's pulling the strings for them. They're top of the league.
He's playing very well. Fantastic player. And even see some of the way some of the old Norwich lads talk about him when they were coming up from League One and straight up into the Premier League from the Championship. He was fantastic.
James Maddison still says he's the best player he's played with.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to agree. Just the amount of times we called for him to get into that Ireland team, and when he did, he always done it. You think of the goal he set up against Italy, he missed the chance just before that, and to have the audacity to put a ball on the head like that straight after it, some man.
Yeah, proper risk taker.
Couple more shouts across the clubs. Dundalk, Barry Keogh, an unbelievable midfield player back in the 80s, sadly died. Robbie Gaffney, Barry sadly died young. Tommy McConville, who I mentioned earlier as a fullback, a defender, played for Ireland as well. Great player with Dundalk in his day. Pat Byrne of Shamrock Rovers, another player who was capped and a fantastic midfield player. Bose, talk about Jackie Jemison, Terry Everston. So I'm sure we'll get a few shouts from fans from quite a few clubs as well. Yeah, Brendan Bradley. I mean, the greatest goal scorer certainly in the history of the league. He has to be worth a shout as well.
Glenn Crowe, he obviously got a cap under was it Brian Kerr or Mick McCarthy, and then Jason Byrne as well.
Jason Byrne. I was just going to say that.
So there's loads. I mean, there's absolutely loads of players back then, and quality like. But I think Gannon, by the time he finishes up, he'd be right up there. And Pat Hooban has to go down in he has to be as one of the best strikers. You look at his goal record at Dundalk, like he's the record scorer. The only thing that would obviously weigh up against Pat would be his time in England. People would say that he failed there. That's just the nature of it. People say that about a lot of players. But I think that's the thing with someone like Wezzo. He went over, he delivered more so, and obviously was able to do it on an international stage. Good ball, Mikey Duffy. Pat Hooben's putting in the net, but I
Yes.
think it's off.
Oh, it's off. No, it's not allowed. Is it free out? Yeah.
Foul. But that'll be a good psychological thing, Gary. I think.
Yeah, at least he put it in the net. What is it, offside? No.
The defender hits it. Oh, he's pulling him there. Very soft though.
So, yeah, he went down
He just
very
touches
easily
off
there.
the centre back.
Yeah.
But a big boy, he went down there, just a little nudge.
I think that's a very soft free kick. There was no way he should have gone down with that.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. But encouraging signs for Dundalk. So just, Gary, I'd be interested to see if you look through the comments there, you know, who are people saying, because it's definitely people are forgetting. Oh, good play here, Dundalk.
Derek Pender is getting a shout here for right back from Jerry Brown.
That's Jer.
Well, is that our Jer?
I think it is, but no, like,
yeah,
he's a good player. But look at what he's won.
Sean O'Donovan reckons we should be Rosenborg Football Fan TV. I don't know, but we're that keen about them. They are a good side, but not saying we're a fan. We're fans anyway. Yeah,
he's probably
and he also says he thinks Chris Shields is the player in this Dundalk team who's been most unlucky to miss out with Ireland. A lot of people would say Mickey Duffy has been unlucky not to make our Irish squads as well. He's been playing some great stuff with Dundalk.
Yeah, I agree. I feel as though if him or Hooben can do well in the group stages, that they may well be in line to. You never know if they're playing well. They may be in line to come across and play against England, maybe in the friendly. Who knows? Which would be unbelievable for
Yeah, what? Jerry also says Killian Brennan, the super for Pats in the league-winning year of 2013. And Aaron Demp says Eamon Zaid is a good shout as well. Scored a lot of goals in his day.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him up there, but anyway, James McLean.
Yeah.
Well, you had players. I mean, Paul McGrath, Roy Keane, Seamus Coleman. They all played in the league, but I don't think for long enough to be in the discussion. Really, you know, the same with James. I mean,
Keith Fahey.
Keith Fahey was some player actually. Yeah,
definitely.
And a gentleman at that. I'm trying to think of who else. I'm sure there's more in the comments, but it's nice to reminisce like that.
Think of some of the Cork lads, maybe Joe Gamble, Colin Healy, two very good players as well.
I can barely see you there, Paul. Have you a light in your room?
I'll show the lights on now.
Like Mr. Burns in there for a minute, you were.
There we go.
Dark look at you. You look beautiful. Yeah, but so far we're 26 minutes or 27 minutes into the Dundalk game, and Dundalk have had the ball in the net, but it was disallowed. Pat Hooben, it looked like a perfectly good goal to me. I'm sure you feel the same, Gary. But yeah, it's been more Dundalk than Molde here, but you'd be afraid that they might catch Dundalk on the break is the only thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think it should have been disallowed. It didn't look like a foul to me. I thought the player went down far too easily. But yeah, Dundalk have more than held their own, and yeah, it's a pretty even game so far.
How's the Vienna game going, Paul?
It's actually very scrappy. They've had a couple of half chances which Leno has saved well. And David Luiz had a header which their keeper saved well as well. That's about it from Arsenal. A couple of offsides, picked up a couple of yellow cards as well, so they're getting stuck in. But these don't look like they're going to roll over and get their bellies tickled anyway. That's one thing.
Sorry, I was just looking at Instagram there. Jack Byrne in like a spacesuit receiving the Player of the Month for the SSE Electricity Award. Gary, what? Anyone saying anything in the comments worth talking about?
So, yeah, that's about most of the comments at this stage that haven't had any more shouts for the best players. I mean, I can go back to some great Waterford won 6 leagues in 8 years. They had fantastic players like Johnny Matthews, Alfie Hale, Peter Thomas. Cork, I mean, Paul mentioned the likes of Joe Gamble, etc. You can go back to the great Cork Hibs and Cork Celtic teams, players like John Lawson, Dave Wigington, Carl Davenport. I mean, there were some fantastic players going back. I know they're before your time, lads, and before a lot of the people watching this. And I mean, there's so many before my time as well. I mean, I mentioned someone like Paddy Code, who I never got to see play. And so many great players going back. I don't think we could do justice to it. We can really only talk about the ones, I suppose, that we've seen and the players that influenced us.
Mm.
I think there's a couple there as well. Obviously, the Baker brothers, Richie Baker,
Yeah.
Desi Baker,
Desi Baker, yeah.
Gary Twigg.
Gary Twigg. Great show.
Great goal scorer, yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
Stephen Rice.
Very good as well.
Oh, well headed out. Is that not a
Could
foul
say-
there, ref? No.
Maybe because
Sorry,
he was an
Paul, go on.
entertainer. Paddy McCart, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't know if he stayed there long enough. Obviously, he went to Celtic, didn't he?
Yeah,
Class
true.
player. That's the only thing that holds. Couple like they're it's almost held against them that they've gone abroad and done well. You know,
Mhm.
after doing well in the league, and then some of the ones that maybe didn't. You know, you look at them like Chris Forrester or someone like that. You know, maybe went away, didn't really work out. He's back in the league now, and I think he has all the ability as well, and just I suppose maybe was unlucky or he had some family issues and was back in the league. But he was another one who was quality, and you know we went away. But some of the ones that don't go away, they're more recognised, like Gannon, you know, as being the top players. Be interesting to see who the top goalkeeper would be. You know, Gary Rogers has been around for so long, so reliable. He's 40 or whatever now, and he's still delivering the goods, and he's been brilliant.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can.
great
Do
tackle.
you want to? Okay, you could run through a few clubs. You get a lot of arguments on the top goalkeeper as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, a couple I'll name. One of my own. Again, I'll start with Limerick. My own bias, my own childhood lyric hero was Kevin Fitzpatrick, who spent 22 years between the sticks for Limerick. Peter Thomas in Waterford was an absolutely superb goalkeeper. Up there, definitely in the argument, one of the best ever. The O'Neill brothers, Alan O'Neill, Dermot O'Neill. You got you probably have a couple of the Hendersons in with a shout as well, going right back to the well, I suppose what you said, the grandfather now with Paddy Henderson, Dave Henderson, etc. Okay, who else in the league? Help me out with some of the Shells goalkeepers, lads.
Steve Williams.
Effort there.
Dean
Yeah,
Delaney.
good shout. So,
But would you not? Oh, good strike. Brendan Clark.
yeah, Brendan Clark's a good shout. We had him in Limerick for a while as well.
I know. I'm trying to think of. Alan Mann is brilliant.
Alan Manus, Richie Blackmore of Dundalk actually is one that definitely is up there with the very, very best on that great Dundalk team of the 70s and 80s. He was a top keeper. I know that you had Jody Byrne in the Shamrock Rovers team as well, the 4 in a row team. Trying to think of the other Rovers. Well, going back again before my time, Pat Dunn, great goalkeeper.
David Ford.
Yeah, did very well in our league, you know, and obviously got quite a few caps as well.
Yeah, and obviously got to move to Millwall as well. Who else played League of Ireland goalkeepers?
Maybe
Just trying to think of like the order.
Brian Murphy at Bowes, and then now he's back at Waterford as well.
Yeah,
Barry Murphy as well. He's a bit mad on Twitter, that fella, the keeper. He was done for drugs or something. And he was banned for a long time, wasn't he? But I think he was a good keeper. It was back when Shells were quite successful. I think he was he the Bowes keeper or the Rovers keeper, Gary?
Barry?
Yeah, what are you laughing at?
Who, me?
be careful what you see. You get the names right and everything, you know. That's.
Oh, what a goal!
Oh yes! Oh yes!
What a goal! Sean Murray.
What a header!
Great header.
Murray with a header, brilliant cross. Yeah. Was that
What a goal
with the cross? Brilliant cross on the right, and Sean Murray with a superb header gave the keeper no chance.
Oh, that was brilliant. See the replay here.
Yeah, lovely 1-2. Sean Gannon gets down the right.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's not Sean Gannon. Sorry, it's John Mountney, is it? Sean Gannon played the pass and Mountney with the cross, and Murray with a superb header. Yeah.
I actually thought it was Mickey Duffy, but look, it was a great goal. Sean Murray 1-0 on his knee slide. He's been brilliant since he came back into the team under the new manager as well.
Scored out in Sheriff as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the Aviva?
Not sure. I think that was away. Was it not the penalty shootout they won? I don't know if he scored that.
I think he scored in that one as well, yeah. And then he scored against them, the team from the Faroes in the Aviva. Sorry, yeah. I was just because I remember I was doing the images for, I was just trying to think back. But no, that was a great start. We said we wanted Dundalk to go a goal up and come early, but this is more like the Dundalk we're used to seeing, not like the one that after the coronavirus came back and just. I think what the best thing you get with this Dundalk team is when they're playing regular games, quick and fast. You see the best version of them, and they've been playing so many games in the last kind of weeks, like every couple of days they've been playing, and I think that's when you get to see the best of them. Hubin's always sharp when they're playing like that. Like, look, they have Molde rattled here. They're after kicking the ball out of play there now, and their manager's going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's a good point, but as long as the games don't take their toll. Now, Dundalk do have a superb squad. I mean, you can take the 11 that's out today and you could name another 11. That would be a very, very decent side for this league. But just hope that the games, they've just got so many games on top of each other. I mean, they were playing in the Brandywell. What was it, on Monday? Was it Monday night? What night did they play, Derry? Monday night, you know, and it's a great win for them, actually. And the problem for Dundalk is they need to qualify, make sure they qualify for Europe next season. And just showing the goal again there. Great header. Yeah, it was definitely Mountney with the cross. A few more comments.
People are going to hammer me for. People probably hammer me for what I said there, but there was a keeper who was done and banned for a number of months. And it's either Ryan or Murphy. I can't remember.
Barry, I think it's Barry Ryan. It's Barry Ryan. Just be careful though, Pop, because you don't want to end up.
Well, look, he was banned. I'm not saying that he did or he didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was only.
He follows me on Twitter. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was only for recreational. I think marijuana or something like that. It was fine. Another fine keeper.
I was trying to give him a shout for being one of the best keepers in the league, and you're there giving me legal advice to make sure that I'm not abusing him. We're trying to give him a compliment, like. What were the comments, though? Yeah, what were we saying?
English Stacey's just talking about the match we're going to be playing against England next month, and David Salter is asking, why are we playing a friendly against England when we're clinging on to a second seeded spot? Is it a bit mad? Well, what do you think?
Just firstly, Gary, Shout out to David Salter, because every time we do a live video, he comes on and leaves comments, and he's a top man. So just give him a little shout out there. I thought I would anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was reading today. Like, I don't think really being a seed 2 or a seed 3 will really matter, because I think the teams are similarly, in a similar kind of bracket. Like, does it? I think that's what Keith Andrews had said last night on Virgin as well, when asked about it by Tommy Martin. He was saying, like, is it wise to be doing this with the seeding? But we're right on the cusp of it. I don't think whatever happens, I think that's what's going to happen eventually anyway. So look, we're going to have to stop trying to rely on things, and maybe rely on ourselves for once to try and do something,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you think about it, you look at we played Italy, right, in 2016, and it was like, they were doing everything so we could get through the group. We literally tried, like, adding more teams and stuff like that so we could get through the group, and we did get through. And we got beaten by France, but we gave them a good game and stuff like that. But we got the draw against Sweden, we got the loss against Belgium, and then we had to go out and obviously beat Italy. But they're trying to give teams more chances to qualify and stuff like that. Obviously, the playoffs and stuff like that. But we need to start winning. We just need to we need to start winning games. We have good players. We just can't score goals at the moment, and I think that'll change. But we just need to start winning games. I think we won't win one big game. I think that's what this team needs, especially the team that's in transition. We just need one big result, and that made it. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go out and start hammering France or something like that. What I'm saying is, if we can get a good result against a similarly ranked team, I think then we'll start having a bit more belief in ourselves, and then maybe start going out and trying to, beat teams 2 or 3-0 rather than just kind of getting one goal. We still haven't seen what this team's going to be like, being a goal up in the game yet. So there's a lot of things to take in. I think it's something that Stephen Kenny's going to be judged on that rather than these 3 games that are coming up. So just let's stick with it for now and see what happens. I know we went on a bit of a ramble there. I apologise, but that's just my view on it.
Yeah, I can see why we're playing England, because it makes perfect sense to get the squad together in England. England needed a game, and we're playing Wales in Cardiff on the Sunday. But from a seeding point of view, it probably is the wrong thing. I actually don't agree that pot 2 and 3 are pretty similar. If we could get into pot 2, it means we'd avoid the likes of Ukraine, who I think are a superb side, Turkey, very good coming side, Russia, Serbia, some very strong teams. Switzerland are probably going to end up in pot 2 as well. I mean, in pot 3, there's a lot of teams you'd fancy. Actually, if we do miss out on pot 2, it'll be to either Slovakia or Northern Ireland, most likely. They're probably whichever one of them gets it, probably the winner of the playoff between them, actually, is probably the team you'd want to draw from a qualification point of view. I'd certainly prefer to be in pot 2. To get into pot 2, we probably need to beat Bulgaria, draw with Wales, and probably draw with England as well. Depends on how the other results work out. But I can see why the game was chosen. It does make a lot of sense. I don't think the problem is, had we gone with the original Bosnia friendly, I think a lot of players would have been unavailable to Stephen Kenny anyway. So you could have gone to Bosnia with a very weakened side and probably lost anyway in that circumstances. So I'm sure he'll have everybody available for Wembley. But yeah, it's a tough game. We also have a great record against England. We haven't lost since 1985 to England. And so you could argue, well, why not play a team that haven't beaten us in so long? So you never know. It would certainly be nice to keep the record going. In fact, I'm pretty sure the only UEFA country with a longer unbeaten run against England is actually Romania, who haven't lost to England since the 1970s. So pretty sure about that. I actually checked it a while back when England were due to play Romania in a friendly before COVID scuppered it. But it looks like Romania will be keeping that record for the moment.
Paul, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Uh, as Gary explained, I can understand why they're playing England. It makes more sense to have them over with the flight already. I think they can just travel down to Wales after that without having to get another flight. Obviously, with the whole situation, be quite awkward. Personally, for myself, I don't think the Nations League or friendlies should be going ahead this year. I understand why the playoff went on. It's completely understandable. They have to get it done, and obviously the tournament's on next year. But if they could have pushed the internationals, friendlies, and Nations League games back to next March, when hopefully everything is safer, that would probably have been better. But I just don't see why. Like it's just causing trouble for clubs. It's moving players around, making things awkward. People catching COVID, people not catching COVID. It's just awkward. But I can see why they brought the England friendly into it.
Yeah, well, it's just as you said there. Look at how much it destroyed the international setup for us last time when we had so many players missing. Against Wales. Although I did think the team that we had was, really well equipped to beat that Welsh team. I thought we were. I know. Look, the stats don't say that. Yeah. I watched it live. I thought we were far the better team. I thought, a goal there and we would have justified a win. They weren't great. They were missing a few players, so I'll be worried more so when we play them in Cardiff. I think it'll be, Bale will have a couple of games under his belt by then, and I don't know what the story is with Joe Allen, but I'd assume if he's not injured, he'll be back. And then they have Ramsey as well, who obviously played in that game, but he was fairly much anonymous. He didn't do a whole lot. Thought Malumbi ran the show in that game. I hope he continues to keep playing. I think the biggest and interesting thing with the fact that, obviously we are going to be playing these games, and as much as we probably don't want them to, well, from a selfish point of view, from the channel point of view, we do want to play them. But from a player's health and safety point of view, I agree with you that they should probably be scrapped till the new year, and the last round of the games probably should have been scrapped till the new year as well. That's my take on it too. It's just half time here, 1-0 to Dundalk. If anyone's just joined us, Sean Murray with a great header on 35 minutes. But then when you're kind of looking at where we're at internationally, our team, everybody's on such a 50-50 note now with our manager and stuff like that, which could have been avoided until the new year. Although he's had a bit of time to work with them, which has been good, but he still, I believe, needs a bit more time. I think you probably get that now between the England game and the Wales game. He'll have a bit more time to work with them and all. And I think ultimately he needs to be judged then on the World Cup campaign, and that's what he was originally brought in to do. He wasn't originally brought in to do the playoff, play the Nations League. Oh, well, he was brought in to do the Nations League, but and then it was World Cup qualifier. That's what he was going to be judged on, the results there. So we're kind of getting close to that period now. After the Nations League games, that was his trial of experimenting with players. And look, I think if we score a couple of goals in them games, we're not sitting here going, well, I'm definitely not worried about where we're at under Kenny. I like where we're going under him. There's a lot of people that are very much Kenny out, Kenny out, Kenny out, and they haven't even given it a chance because they want instant success. And that's the problem with a lot of Irish fans. They're not willing to wait and see. They just want us to win straight away, even if it's win ugly. And then when we start winning games ugly over a period of time, they'll be like, oh, I'm sick of watching Ireland. They're shit. They're this. They're that. And then when you bring in a manager who tries to play expansive football, but the only thing we can't do is score, but we do everything else right. So I think, look, the formula, I think we'll get right. There's still going to be players coming through there. We're in the middle of a transition. I have to say that the players that came in from the last international break, the youngsters that came in were our best players. Like, other than David McGoldrick, they were our best players. Darragh O'Shea, Jason Malumbi, and there was one more gone out my head. I know Jason.
Well, Aaron Connolly, if you want to say Aaron Connolly as well. Aaron Connolly, who's only a year in the squad, but he's already a starter,
Yeah, but that's the thing. You don't even look at Aaron Connolly as a youngster anymore. You think of him as an experienced player because he's done well since he's been in there. He's been doing well in the Premier League, and he looks like an established member of that squad now. Even though he's only been in there, I think 2 international squads because I think he got injured for the one before that. But I think Aaron super player. I think he's one that we can go to in the future. Athe done okay in the previous one. Probably would say he wasn't fit, but I think again he keeps playing games for Norwich. Came on the other day, got an assist. He looks like a good player. I think he just needs time. Still very young. He's only 19. So these people who want the instant success and not willing to wait for it, I don't really care. Like, are they really supporters? Because you have to support us when we do well, and when we do bad, and when we do well, and that's what a supporter is. You support the team through good and bad. You don't just say, "Oh no, Ireland aren't attractive to watch, so I'm not watching them. This is shit." It's a silly way of going about it, I think.
David Salter and Owen O'Leary agree with you, Paul. Owen O'Leary has short-term pain for long-term gain. And David Salter, well said there, lads. I reckon Kenny needs 2 years before he's judged fully. After Malumbi, Ida, Connolly, etc., bedded in, the future is bright. McCarthy qualified, which is true, for his third tournament, which is the World Cup 2002, and I remember this. He got a lot of abuse for '98, and indeed for when we missed out in Euro 2000 in the playoffs. Celtic Warrior says we need to get Will Smallborn capped. Possibly a good shout as well.
I don't think there'd be any issue there with him.
Well, he's certainly worth having a look at. Peter Murphy's comment on, he reckons we're going to be facing Jack Grealish, Declan Rice, Patrick Bamford and James Maddison all starting against us at Wembley. You can throw in Harry Kane to that as well, who was eligible for us, and I know the FAI chased him. I think he's Limerick and Galway connections actually, but he would have definitely solved our goal scoring problems if he had declared.
Look, I mean, it is what it is with them. I don't care about any of them. Like, all I ever see is, oh, Royce Grealish, blah 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 blah. I actually have Declan Rice blocked off social media, so I just don't see any of his crap. I have Grealish blocked too. Don't see any of their stuff. Like, not that they'll care that I have them blocked. It's not like that. It's just that I don't see them. So I don't care about them. They don't play for Ireland. They can never play for Ireland now. They're of no relevance to us. Living in the past, we are. We just like paying no attention to them. Like, yes, what they did was wrong. So why do you bother even, associating yourself with or trying to interact with them? Like, I understand people trying to give them stick and whatever on social media, and I don't mind it. I don't like, keep doing it. I don't care, but I just don't give them any airtime or give them say that now we're giving them airtime. But I see someone like Jason Malumbi, who is a proper proud Irish player who will play for us for the next 10 years, hopefully, at a very good level or more. And then I look at the other fella who has no loyalty whatsoever. He'll leave West Ham and he'll go to somewhere like Chelsea or something, or somewhere like that, and the West Ham fans will hate him as well. So he'll have a career like that where everywhere he goes, he'll always leave somewhere and be hated by that fan base, and probably will retire a very unpopular player. That's what I believe with Rice. Anyway, I don't really so much mind Grealish as much. I mean, he played under 21 level, and that was it. He didn't play senior level. He didn't use us as a way to put himself in a bit of a spotlight there, like the other fella. So I actually don't really have that much of a gripe with Grealish as much. I can see you spoiling there. There's obviously a funny comment there, but I really don't have that bad of an angry feeling towards Grealish, more so as I would the other snake in the grass.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, there probably aren't any Northern Ireland fans watching this, but if they were, they would probably make the point that James McLean represented their under-21s many times. Shane Duffy, likewise. Shane Duffy sat on the bench for Northern Ireland against Italy, and had he come off the bench, he would never have been eligible for us. So I suppose they would argue what goes around comes around. We lost Alex Bruce to them as well, so maybe they have no argument, but... yeah, unfortunately. Well, they declared for us from a very, very young age. They never James McCarthy was, I don't think he ever played for Scotland underage, did he? Or Aidan McGeady. So, I mean, it's
No,
not so
but
much
we took them
player.
off Scotland, really.
Yeah, but no, I mean, okay. I think it's a different thing when you're talking about the parentage rule, because I mean, Gary Breen, the morning after Stuttgart, went into school in London wearing his Irish shirt. So are you saying he's not eligible? He only ever played for us, even though he was born in England. Did we take him off England? I don't think so. You know, I mean,
Well,
but
I think that's different, Gary,
it,
because Gary Breen's not going to get into an England squad, where I think James McCarthy or Aidan McGeady would have got into the Scotland squad.
yeah, but Gary Breen, well, his performance in 2002, he could have got into any squad. He was brilliant for that World Cup. But they grew up as Irish, and I mean, they decided from a very, very young age they wanted to play for us, whether it's Gary Breen or James McCarthy or Aidan McGeady. And yeah, I mean, okay, Declan Rice. Yeah, he played for the senior team and everything. So yeah, that is hard to take. But unfortunately,
He's frozen there.
Yeah.
I think it's more down to FIFA and the rules that are there, and you have exploiting the rules as they are. You know, so it's I don't know. It's unfortunately it is what it is at the moment.
It's one of those, though, isn't it? It's an extreme talking point. Paul didn't actually get to give his view there, so we'll get his view.
On what Ireland said.
Just what like you're looking at this friendly against England, right? Your man mentioned, I think it was David Salter mentioned, Bamford don't care, Madison don't care, English, Grealish, Rice all gonna play. Do you really care?
Peter Murphy, yeah, Peter
No,
Murphy
sorry,
said it. I think.
yeah. I don't care because it's not our team. I care about our team. That's their team. Like that's all we should care about. Like, you made good points there. I mean, Bamford was spoken about, and even Mick McCarthy when he was manager said, "I've no interest if he doesn't want to play for us," and that's the right way to look at it. You know, I mean, it's a friendly. Anything could happen. We've a good record against them. We just have to focus on ourselves. Don't worry about the rest. And sure, in the overall scheme of things, Southgate probably won't play Grealish because he doesn't like him. So that's it.
Well, that's fairly simply put, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just think as Irish fans, we're very proud of, like, as that T-shirt, our merchandise, our T-shirt. You could check it out on our shop, irishfantv.myshopify.com. Being Irish is the best thing in the world. I truly believe that being Irish is the best thing in the world, as McLean says. Well, I think the Irish fans carry that as well. Is that, like, if you play for us and you leave us in any way, like people were like that with Ryan Johansson, who literally did nothing wrong but declare for Ireland and was not allowed to play for Ireland then. And then people went and was like, "Oh, he's snake. He's going to Sweden." It's like, no, he declared for Ireland and they wouldn't let him. He was forced then to kind of go back and declare for Sweden because Luxembourg had messed him about. But I think actually when fans understood the situation, they were a lot more understanding, and they were like, "Do you know what? He's actually not done anything wrong," and they were, quite happy to leave him alone and wish him well, which I thought was really good. And then you look at the other two, and as I said, I kind of give Grealish a bit more of a pass because he played under 21s and then left. It wasn't like he played seniors like the other snake. So I really don't care if they're playing in the game. Like, I hope someone like Jason Malumbi clatters into him. I love seeing when West Ham get beat and his miserable face gets put on the camera. It's a great, great feeling, and I will celebrate that. And I won't deny that I celebrate his misery as much as I can. And to be fair, it doesn't actually happen that often. But when it does happen, it's a great feeling. But I think as Irish fans, we do hold on to that. We're gonna face Grealish and Rice, and we tend to get this obsession with their players that we shouldn't really have. We should be focused on what we have, as you said, Paul, and we should be focusing on how can we go to England, to Wembley, and get a result. You get a result there for Stephen Kane. That would be massive for us. It would be massive for if we got a goal, one goal even. it'll be massive. Go there, get a win, and we have that. That's just bragging rights. But even at that, it's like when you're in a league and you have a derby game, and you could be playing shit form, and form goes out the window in a derby game, and it'll be England, Ireland. It is a friendly, and they'll all know each other. But the Irish lads will not be taking it lightly. You know that for a fact. Especially if he goes in with a lot of the younger lads. I think someone like Malumbi would thrive off a game like that. And again, I mentioned the Wales game. I mean, he didn't look out of place with Juventus superstar out there, Aaron Ramsey. You know.
Yeah, playing England at Wembley, I don't think anyone's going to take it lightly. Peter Murphy has come back and says, I think I started something that's getting out of hand. It was a bit of a laugh. He says, getting dark now, okay. David Salter is actually asking, are FIFA going to change the rules? And there had been talk of that a few weeks ago, that they were actually going to change the rules and allow people who've been capped even at competitive games to change up to 21. I don't think it actually changed, Paul. I think they were taught. Is it actually changed?
It did, yeah, it was confirmed, yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize it was confirmed. It changed. I know they were talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but Ryan's going to stay with Sweden because his agent's Swedish, and it's just a big mess otherwise. So I think I can understand his decision. It's just less stress for him at this rate. But the FAI should be doing all they can to get him on board. But look, he's at Sevilla now, and hopefully he does well. As I said, I wish him well for the future. Lovely fella, and I hope he goes on to do great things with Sevilla and unfortunately Sweden. But yeah, tell Peter Murphy I'm sorry there. I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I think it's good to get these things out. Like it's showing pure passion, like you know what I mean. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Just if anyone's just joining us there, it's just kicking off the second half here. Dundalk are 1-0 up against Molde. Paul, what you said something there? I didn't mean to cut across you.
I was just saying when you were talking there at half time here in 0-0, Vienna haven't looked out of it at all. They look a decent side, a solid side, so it'll be tough for Dundalk, as it's tough for Arsenal as well, even though they have made a couple of changes. But I was just going to say another thing on Ireland. I think we're just a bit more passionate about our national team than the English lads are, to be honest. I think, like, you look at England, a lot of the supporters for the national team would come from the lower leagues, is from what I gather anyway. Not saying the Premier League clubs don't support them, or Premier League fans, but you generally see fans from Tranmere, so on, coming down, supporting there. And I think, I don't know, just something about England and their supporters is just not very likeable, and we're just a bit more passionate. That's it.
Well, I think it boils down to a couple of things in that, though. Like, there's a lot of stuff with Maggie Thatcher and stuff like that. Way back, Gary will know more about this than me, but I know a lot of people in Liverpool and Manchester don't follow the English national team and would rather see someone like Ireland do well. I know the lads off Toffee TV, you know, they're always asking me, like, why do you love the Irish team so much? And, you know, we don't care even if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is scoring goals for England. We don't care. We just want to make sure that he's fit back playing for Everton. So, yeah, there is that sense of pride, but the players are the same. I thought, like, look how many players we had on the podcast, and they're not just saying it for the camera. Like, their ambition in life is to play for their country, and their absolute pride, and you know, the reason they play the game is to obviously win stuff at club level, but to wear the Ireland jersey and get caps for Ireland is their be all and end all. And you can see it even when they play for the underage. Like, you can see them. Like, and I know you've watched the under-21s when Stephen was manager of them. And great save, Gary Rogers. He was offside anyway.
It was offside. Offside, yeah.
Yeah, but you can see that when they're playing, even at the under-21s, they all love it. They all love being together. They're a really close-knit group. That, especially those 21s, and a lot of them have progressed into the first team now. But you can see how much they love playing for Ireland. You can see it, like, even when they meet up, you look at Duffy and all them, they just love being around each other. Where I think it's different, obviously, at England, and you mentioned there, the Premier League and all. I think a lot of them play against each other in the Premier League. Lampard and Rio Ferdinand, I think, referenced it on BT a few seasons ago. You know, how they were always competing with one another, that they hated giving anyone an edge, so they didn't get close to each other. Don't have any of that with Ireland, because they all want to do well. They all want to see each other do well, and I think they all wish each other well as well, which is really good. And I think that's the difference. Our team is a proper team, and they love. Although the English players, I will say, love playing for England. Like, if you look at any of the players that actually play, they all seem to be quite proud playing for them. But I think our lads, it means so much more to them. And I tend to see a lot of them go up in levels when they play for Ireland. It's like Richie Dunn used to go up. He was unbelievable. Like, I'm talking a man who went up so many levels. You look at how much Robbie Keane spoke about, you know, all the clubs he ever played for and everything, but the jersey that fit the best was the green one every time. So yeah, I mean, and there's no reason why a lot of them now, John O'Shea, Keith Andrews, Damien Duff, they're all involved with the national team now. Andy Reid, they're all involved with the national team now, which is great. Sean St. Ledger as well. So there's loads of them there that have kind of kept that going. So you can see how much that means to them. And I've gone off a little bit off point there. Gary, you were going to say something there, like Paul was talking about how we're a bit more passionate than the English fan base.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with Paul on the smaller clubs thing. I think I've seen England quite a bit actually in major tournaments, because I go to the tournaments even when we're not in them. And you do see the flags from Hull City and Rotherham and Bristol Rovers and a lot of the clubs. Now, some of that could be that if you take your average Manchester United or your Liverpool fan or your Chelsea fan, they do get so many Champions League games, etc. as well. And I mean, you can't really go and follow your team across Europe and then try and follow your national team as well. It's just not possible. I disagree on the passion. I think England fans are among the most passionate fans of a national team you will see anywhere in the world. And the amount of English fans that went to Russia, particularly when they... No, maybe not. I actually saw them play twice in Russia, against Panama and against Belgium. And maybe didn't have that many fans. They had quite a few there, more than almost any other country, but or certainly any European country. But I was already home at this stage. But when they got through and they played the likes of Colombia and Sweden, etc., the thousands of fans that went there. And even if you go back to the number of fans they brought to the likes of Germany, 100,000 fans to Germany in 2006, they brought so many fans to France. So they can bring huge support, huge traveling support to tournaments, and they can be very passionate. You did mention the Maggie Thatcher stuff, Paul, and yeah, there was definitely, I think it's probably old history and more of a legacy now. There was a huge hooliganism element. I mean, I can remember being at Euro 88 in Italia 90, and you were definitely very concerned about trouble. And you had some rules as well. I mean, there were different rules for England fans and for Irish fans. I remember even our campsite in Cagliari before the England game in Sardinia. And just stupid stuff like we were allowed to bring our car, Irish registered car, into the campsite beside our tent. And the English fans, groups of English fans in the tents beside us, couldn't bring their cars into the campsite. I mean, I don't know why it was, but they've no ban on Irish cars, they'd a ban on English cars. Bar owners would ban English fans from drinking and they wouldn't ban Irish fans. Now, we never caused problems, of course. But in fairness, I think a lot of that is gone, and trouble doesn't tend to follow England abroad any longer. There weren't any problems in Russia. They were really, really well behaved.
Are you sure about that?
I think so. I certainly saw nothing, and I don't remember reading about anything. Yeah. Okay.
Fellas jumping off cars and all. Jumping on, I remember.
I think there was trouble back in England, was it? Yeah, there was trouble back in England, I think, but not the fans in Russia. I mean.
Oh right, sorry. Okay, yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah. It's having said that, I remember in actually at Egypt, Saudi Arabia. Pretty sure I'm getting the match right. We met this Brummie, an Aston Villa fan, and he'd been travelling around. We'd met him at a couple of games. And he was going to lots of games in Russia and not going to any England game. He just didn't want the hassle of it. and he was enjoying the World Cup and just didn't want to be there. And we're actually saying to him, we actually had a spare ticket. There was 2 Irish guys, and we were 3 Irish guys actually at the time with him, and the 3 of us were going to England, Panama, and we had a spare ticket. But sorry, was it England? I might be getting the games mixed up there. But anyway, we had a spare ticket, but he just didn't want to know. He just wanted to avoid them. So it's there can be some of that just some English fans, and I certainly remember in Italia '90 there were loads of English fans who avoided the England games and they were going around to other games. We were at Spain and Yugoslavia in Verona, and England were playing Belgium the same day, and we actually met a group of England fans going into the match, and I said, "Well, why aren't you in Bologna?" Which wasn't that far away actually, as driving wise, and said, "Oh no, we wouldn't go near that game. Just too much trouble. Didn't want to get caught up in anything. We can just go and enjoy the match here." And that's probably why we picked Spain, Yugoslavia as well, to be honest.
Yeah, but that shows that we're more passionate than them.
Well, okay.
I'm only joking. What was the question again? But we went. I know we went way off topic, but like this is why I love doing these shows, because you end up just talking about loads.
Okay, well, we'll give a shout out to English Stacey here. You're describing the past. It's not like that here anymore. Fair shout. And when people saw it was safe, they all started going to Russia. Yeah, no, that's probably a fair shout. But having said that, okay, there's a lot of rubbish in the. Yeah, there's a lot of rubbish in the British media about places being dangerous and Russia being dangerous. I mean, Russia was very safe. I was there from the start of the World Cup and had an absolutely amazing time. And
1-0 Rapid Vienna. 1-0 Rapid Vienna. Awful mistake. I didn't actually see it. They were just coming back off a replay, and it was a goal kick to Arsenal, and it looked like Leno messed it up or something. They're going to show the replay now, but it looks shocking. And that fellow I called out at the start, Fountas, gets the goal, the top scorer from last year. But yeah, doesn't look great now. Oh, David Luiz. No, it's not David Luiz. Leno passes it off the other striker and bounces to Fountas, who puts it home. So 1-0 Rapid Vienna. Terrible goal.
So this means that if Dundalk win here, they could be joint top of the group by the end of the 90 minutes. If there's still 35 minutes to go.
Yeah, they had been top on their own if the game finishes in a draw, of course. Yeah.
Well, that's true too, Gary. Let's hope for a draw in the. Well, Paul will be obviously hoping for a Arsenal win, but let's hope for a draw. Dundalk then are top of the. I'll tell you what though, if they can start off, who was it? Well, someone said it in the World Cup or in the Euros that if you can get obviously the first win of the group, it's massive then, because you psychologically then, you know, you have your first win and you're not struggling then to try and even get your first point or your first goal. I think Dundalk have been good to watch here. They've defended really well. They've known when to attack. It's been a very smart performance, I would say. What do you think, Gary? You're obviously watching this as well.
Yeah, no, I thought they have played very well, and they certainly deserve their lead. They've been, dare I say it, they've been quite comfortable, you know. And but there's a long way to go yet. I mean, there's still 34 minutes to go, and I'm sure Molde are going to come right back at them now.
Yeah, just as I said there, Greg Slogger gives up possession there for a small foul. I think he's a really good player. Been a great addition for Dundalk this season.
He has been a superb addition. I didn't think he's been that prominent tonight, actually. I thought he was playing very well in the other games I'd seen him play. And he was a great player. I remember him with UCD in the first division, and he looked head and shoulders above anyone else in the first division at the time. And he's gone on and proven that he's been a top player now, and an automatic choice for Dundalk.
What a team that UCD team was. Ferrugia, Gary O'Neill, Georgie Kelly, Sloggett. Serious. And they have another lad of Pats. What's his name?
Connor Kearns, is it?
keeper. Yeah, he was another one. Then they have another one. Is it Kerrigan?
McClellan, is
McClellan,
it
that's
maybe?
the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'd
they
say
keep producing quality players. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yo-Yo Maddie at the moment. Paul, you actually watch a lot of UCD games. Is there anyone there besides Yo-Yo Maddie who you think maybe next season will go up to the Prem if they're not obviously in the Prem themselves?
Well, Colin Whelan up front of them as well. Maddie's got 15 goals this season. Colin Whelan's got 14. So the two of them are just fighting it out there for the top scorer. Mark Doyle from Drogheda is up there as well, but obviously we're talking about UCD. There's a lad who came on the other night, Anu Kinsella Bishop is his name, young fella. He scored twice up at Tala against Rovers too, and got another one the other night against Cabo. Came on, immediately got a yellow card, and then 2 minutes later he ran from just over the halfway line and scored a great goal. They're very good going forward, UCD, but it's the same thing with them is when they have to actually win the ball back and defend it, that'll probably let them down in the top division. They'd probably be picked off a little more. But they're a very good side, very confident. Andy Moyler has been playing great stuff and they're scoring goals for fun.
Yeah.
The likes of Dave McMillan, Robbie Benson came through from those UCD teams as well, you know. And yeah, they should make the playoffs and they'll be a real threat in the playoffs.
And hopefully they won't be playing Shells because they got a massive win against Sligo on Sunday. Which is great. Well done, Hubin.
I think Shells are safe now. Personally, I don't want to jinx it, but I think they are. I think Harps are happy with that position. Obviously, it's on 2 points. They're on 2 points ahead of Cork with it. Obviously, there's a lot of games to play as well. But I think Harps would have been happy with that at the second season anyway, to be honest. So,
I don't think
Dundalk just got a good free kick in a good position here. So, John Mountney had won a great free kick in a good area. So it'd be interesting to see what comes of it now. Gary, what were you saying?
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say I don't think Cork can mathematically catch Shells, and I don't think Harps have any real chance of catching Shells. So I think the current points total is safe enough for Shells. Cork could still, I know nearly any Cork fan I know says they're already down. I actually don't agree. Oh, free kick is clear there. I think Cork could still sneak into the playoff. But from the first division club's perspective, they probably don't want to be facing Finn Harps in the playoff because as a Limerick fan, I know all about Harps in the playoff and they're very, very tough to beat. And particularly if it's up in Ballybuffet, they'll be a tough nut to crack. And as Paul said, absolutely 100%, Harps would have been delighted with the playoff at the start of the season. They are, budget-wise and everything, they're punching above their weight. Ollie Horgan and Paul Hegarty, they do a superb job with them. And they won't finish any higher than ninth. I don't think even the most optimistic Finn Harps fan would say they're going to catch Shells. But if they finish ninth, they have a very good chance. You probably say they're the favourites to finish ninth, although I'm not ruling Cork out. But they'll be very tough to beat in the playoff. And you have to. I'd fancy Harps in a playoff because they're just so tough to beat.
Yeah, hit me with some more comments there, Gar.
Okay, David Salter, what do you think of the under-21 game for Italy?
Oh, goal for Molde.
Oh no, I missed it. That's
Hussein. I'm just going to wait for the replay here because I just seen it hitting the net. So it goes out right. The ball's whipped in from the fullback edge. Oh, he's on his own and he kind of
he arrived late into the box. Yeah, it was a good. No one picked up the run. Deflected off Sean Gannon. Yeah.
He kind of strikes it like Flores though against Rovers. It's obviously nowhere near the same level, but the technique of the way he hits it is very similar to Jordan Flores' goal against Rovers. Just literally the technique of how he hit it. But it's 1-1 here, and it's in the 62nd minute. But I think Dundalk have played really well up to now, and I hope that they can hang on and try and get another goal or get the draw and not concede another, because I think it'd be harsh if they did lose this. But this is the level that they're operating on. Anyway, Gary, go back to the comments there. What's with the awkward
Yeah, so one
silence,
from
lads?
Sorry, I was watching. I
okay,
was watching the game there.
all right. Sorry, I thought you were finishing a point there. One from David Salter. What do you think of the under-21 game against Italy? Connor Coventry really impressed David, and he says that kid can set the tempo and control a midfield. And he says Michael Obafemi is better in the two-man up front. I definitely agree with that. I think the lone striker role doesn't suit Michael Obafemi. Yeah, I'll comment first on Conor Coventry because I really like him as a player as well. He looks really good. He can't be far off making the breakthrough to West Ham. Possibly if Declan Rice does leave, Paul goes to Chelsea or wherever, that Conor Coventry could be the man to take his spot. Could be good for Ireland. I know from being actually, I saw Conor playing the under-21 tournament in Toulon, and I was talking to one of the other players' fathers and said that Conor's dad, I mean, as you probably know, Conor also still qualifies for England, but that he absolutely adores being part of the Irish setup, and his English-born father is absolutely totally overwhelmed with Ireland and with everything, and so hopefully I'm not tempting fate here, but I don't think Conor Coventry is going anywhere. And yeah, definitely one for the future. I thought he did well against Italy when as a team we didn't really play well. I thought I was disappointed to lose that game. Thankfully, other results have worked out for us with terms of qualification. That if we win our last two games, we qualify for the under-21s, which would be absolutely massive. But yeah, I think Conor Coventry is definitely one for the future. And I do hope that Stephen Kenny doesn't come looking for too many of the younger players for the Wembley friendly and the Cardiff game.
Yeah, Paul, do you want to add to any of that? And I'll give my 2 cents after you.
I didn't see much of the 21s game now because of college, but I seen the highlights. I think they'd be disappointed considering the whole situation with what happened with the Italian team. I know, obviously, they're still the Italian under-20 side, and it's going to be an extremely tough game. But they would be disappointed. There's still a couple of games to go. They've done extremely well, probably better than we thought they would have done. And there's some very good players there. As you can see, some of them are already graduating into the senior team, and I can only see more to come through that that under-21 setup.
Yeah, well, just on Coventry, he comes from a place in London where everybody on his road is from Cabra, including his family. So he's very much Irish to the core. It's just that he lives in England. So I would not be in any way worried that he is going to go anywhere else. Yes, I think he's a fantastic player. Yes, I would like to see him get a run. David Moyes has had him on the bench a few times, along with Josh Cullen, especially towards the back end of last season after his loan spell was cut short with I think it was Lincoln. And then he's been on the bench a couple of times this season in Carabao Cup. I think he made his debut in the Carabao Cup. I could be wrong in saying that though. But yeah, he is one like Malumbi, the two of them in there. In fact, Stephen Kenny, I don't know if you want to maybe look at this as a balance, but he actually had Coventry ahead of Jason Knight. Stephen Kenny did in a lot of those under-21 games. So I think Coventry definitely, if he can get in at club level somehow or get a loan, if it's not going to work out for him, then I think there's definitely opportunities for him there to get a loan move to somewhere, do well there, and come in as a player that can help set the tempo in games. But what he needs now at his age for his development is first team football. A lot of those and he did try to get it, to be fair to him, he did try to go out to Lincoln, and then the coronavirus cut that short. He would have been there with El Bozzetti and Anthony Scully. So funny, the fella coming on for Molde there looks a bit like Anthony Scully. So you're looking at that. You need a little bit of luck, and you need those things to happen for Coventry to kind of get the rub of the green. But I do think, yes, he's going to be a fantastic player, but he needs to get game time now. And yeah, obviously he's done well against the Italian team, but he's training with the West Ham first team. He's playing in the West Ham first team on the bench. So it's not like he's out of it's not like the players that he's playing with, like Ogbonna is, I'm sure, a full international for Italy. So he's not out of his depth within these players. Like, he's playing with a lot of full internationals. Darren Randolph, obviously, as well. He's playing with all these players as well in training, so that's only going to help his levels. But he does need game time, and I do think that he'll be a good player for us in the future. And it's great to have these kind of options for the future. To have players like Coventry and Knight, Malumbi, and there's more there, I'm sure, coming through. If Joe Hodge, if he keeps developing like he is at City, but we're gonna have to be careful of him because I know England are sniffing around him. But there's a lot of players still there. Even actually in centre back and stuff like that. Like, you got Andrew Elmo Bamidele, who's at Norwich, and phone's gone off there. You got him at Norwich doing really well. I think he's going to be one of our best players in the future if he can keep developing like he is. I believe there's a lot of clubs looking at him. I was at when I went over to do the Michael Obafemi video. There was a lot of scouts there at Charlton. It was Charlton under 21s against Fulham under 21s, and they were all talking about Omar Bamidele. He obviously played with the under 17s in the Euros, and he's been playing with the Norwich under 23s a good bit. I think he was on the Norwich bench a while back because he was sending me photos on our Instagram. So he's another one to keep an eye on just for the future. So there's a lot of good players coming through there, and that's why people are like, "Oh, we're terrible, this, that, the other." Football is a funny way of working. Like 2 years ago, we thought we didn't have any players at all coming through. Now we've a total influx of players coming through. Bit of a long answer, I know, but sorry.
Yeah, there was a big difference, I think, though, between playing under 23s. I was just reading an article actually this morning, and it was one of the scouts had commented that he watches a lot of the under 23 games, and he hardly sees a tackle. And there's a big advantage, I think, in these young players going on loan and playing men's football. Now, whether it's dropping down to, well, at least the Championship, but even dropping down to League One or League Two, I mean, it's a big difference. And okay, the quality may not be there, but the intensity, the tackling, and I mean, you grow up very fast in those environments, and you have to learn in it. And I think there's a lot to be said to going out on loan, getting game time, and now sometimes you say you get kicked around the place, and but there's a lot to be learned coming up at that level and playing men's football rather than the under 23s, which you can. Oh, it's a penalty shout here, is it? Was that a dive? Yeah, it's going to be a yellow card for a dive, I think. Oh,
He looks like he's pointing at the penalty.
is he given the penalty? Has he given the penalty? I thought he was going to.
I think he's given it. Yeah,
he's given the penalty.
Clear.
Oh no,
Sean Gannon shaking his head.
So.
Very soft. Here's a better
Just going to say, Ireland M in the comments had been predicting 2-1 Molde, and he's saying Dundalk could look shaken. I presume he's Norwegian, but yeah. Come on, Gary Rogers.
Yeah, it's a penalty, and they're 99. Number 99 is taking it. Come on, Gary. Oh,
it's 2-1.
Scored.
Goal.
2-1.
Yeah.
So, what's scored the Arsenal game, Paul?
Still 1-0. Still 1-0. They brought on Aubameyang. They've had a lot of the ball, but they've had nothing clear cut.
Arteta out. That was a great penalty.
It was a good penalty, right in the corner. Gary Rogers, he went the right way, but he had no chance with that. It was just inside the post. Excellent penalty.
Yeah, there's nothing you could be doing to save that.
I can just run through some of the latest scores if you want from the other groups. So CSK Sofia are losing 1-0 at home to Cluj. Young Boys are drawing 1-1 at home against Roma. And as Paul said, Rapid are 1-up against Arsenal. Bayer Leverkusen are 3-1 up against Nice. And Hapoel Beersheva are 1-0 up at home against Slavia Prague. Benfica are winning 3-2 in Poznan away to Lech. And Rangers are winning 1-0 in Belgium away to Standard Liège. PAOK are drawing 1-1 with Ammonia Nicosia. And Granada of Spain are winning 2-1 in Eindhoven against PSV. And AZ Alkmaar, Dundalk's old opponents, are winning 1-0 in Naples against Napoli. And Rijeka and Real Sociedad are drawing 0-0. So that's a run through of all the Europa League games as they stand at the moment.
Oh, he's done great.
Very good. I heard Paul with a little Matt Letizia shout there. What's going on?
Pepe done well to keep the ball in on the line, put it across, but defender cleared it. Thought they were in there. Saka was on the end of it, but defender cleared it.
There's 3 subs there about to come on for the Town. Hey, come on, the Town. Chris Shields is in possession in their half. Gives it out. Oh, Sean Gannon's got it out wide right. He's got 2 to aim at in the middle as a poor cross.
Peter Murphy's given a shout out about just the exposed player. It's Graham Carey, I think, is playing with CSKA Sofia in the Europa League as well. The Irish lad over there.
Any other comments there?
So Ryan Thorpe says hopefully we'll get a result, even a draw. Gregory Lynch, his teacher plays in the League of Ireland. So who's your teacher, Gregory? Ireland seems quite happy that Molde are 2-1 up.
1-1, David Luiz. Yes.
Oh, David Luiz. Doing all that shit.
Nah, he's just running back. They're not happy with it. But it's 1-1. Good stuff.
That's probably the worst result now for Dundalk, isn't it? Because they'd be bottom with no points if it stays as it is.
Well, I think Dundalk are hardly going to be competing with Arsenal to finish, so maybe they could be hoping that Arsenal would go on and win, or they can get a result here. I think realistically it's either Molde or Rapid that Dundalk could be hoping to finish ahead of.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying that they'll be like the way results are at the moment, they'll be bottom. Sean Murray with a great tackle there. What were you going to say, Paul?
I was just going to say, if Leno continues playing how he is, he nearly gifted them another goal there just before Arsenal's equaliser. Literally the same thing, cleared the ball, went straight to the fella who scores all the goals for Rapid Vienna, and he took a shot, and he recovered well, Leno. But, I mean, if he keeps making mistakes against better teams, he'd be caught out. And I'm sure Pat Holden would wrap one of them up no bother as well, so he'd want to get his act together.
Yeah, Gary, were you going to say something there? Ow, my elbow.
No, well, I mean, it's just Arsenal have to be favourites, I suppose, to win the group ultimately.
Obviously,
even if they're going to rotate the squad. So I don't know. I mean, if Dundalk were to lose tonight, it'd be very difficult to even think about getting a runners-up spot. Maybe you're just talking about picking up a few points here and there. Tonight, if anything, was probably their best chance of getting a win. Still a good chance, 14 minutes to go, that they can nick a draw. I just see there's a substitution being made here. Sean Gannon's going off, and David McMillan is going on. So that they're definitely going for it. Another ex-UCD player, of course, David McMillan. And Sean Murray's going off, the goal scorer.
Oh my God, Leno again. Oh no. Oh, he's so lucky. Sorry. Leno is having an awful day here. Same fella again. David Luiz has it covered, but Leno comes out anyway. Goes to clear it. Clears it off, David Luiz, and it bounces back to them. And your man nearly puts it in, but Arsenal actually defended it quite well after that. But like, he's the only one who's causing the problems here. It's unbelievable.
Mickey Duffy, that's awful. What are you doing? Just Dundalk made a triple substitution there. They brought on Boyle, McMillan, and Dummigan. They brought off Leahy. They're bringing on Kolovich now as well. Gannon came off, and who was it? Murray.
Sean Murray came off as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So bit of a weird one because they took off the 2 fullbacks.
Yeah, well, Cameron Dummigan will play full back as well. I'm not sure, is Andy Boyle going to go in as
Garton looks like he's playing right back now.
Right.
Unless it's a 3-5-2 and maybe Dummigan, who's on the ball now, done well there, is going to play as a wing back or gives the ball out of play. Hey, maybe a 3-5-2 with McMillan and Houben up front. Maybe that's what he's thinking. 3 centre backs, like, and then you could Gartland.
2-1,
Gartland.
Aubameyang. Yes.
Nice for you. Nice. Gartland, sorry, Boyle and Cleary centre back, and then you have Mountney as the right wing back. That's what I'm thinking he's doing there. It looks like Kolovic is going to be coming on now in a sec as well. I seen him getting warmed up there with his top or his training top off. Just while we're actually watching this, and Daniel Cleary's just appeared on our screen. I don't know if you've seen the horrible stuff that came out from that ex-Liverpool player. Just a horrible thing. He went out of his way to basically break Daniel Cleary's leg at Liverpool so he could gain an advantage and play ahead of him. Absolute disgusting thing to do. Did any of you hear or read that?
Yeah, I read it. I thought it was disgraceful. I mean, really shocking thing to see that, and even he was very stupid as well to actually admit it. I mean, even to go and do it is really bad, and go and do it to a teammate and shows you have no confidence in your own ability. But to actually be stupid enough to go and admit it as well, and I mean, potentially that's changed Daniel Cleary's career completely. You know, I mean, who knows? He could be still in the Liverpool squad if that hadn't happened.
Well, he came out and actually said it. There was a piece in the Athletic. I just seen the headline. It says I could still be at Liverpool if I wanted to be. So it seems as though he chose to leave to go to Birmingham, and then whatever happened there, obviously led him back to Dundalk. But Paul, did you see it or hear it?
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see it, but like, even the thoughts of that, like, that's unacceptable at any level. That's unacceptable in life, the way you're going on there. Listen, I understand it's a cutthroat profession, but you don't be going on like that. Like, you're all in the same boat. It's a team sport. Don't be doing that.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't even know who your man is. He got released by Morecambe, so he got his karma anyway. He's shite. I hate that. Like, he actually came out and said that he didn't regret it. Like, imagine being that much of an idiot. I'd say he regrets even doing the podcast now because he came out of it looking absolutely horrendous. Like, why on earth would you, like, even if you did do it, which is wrong in any way, why would you then go and say it afterwards? I just think it's just one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. And Daniel Cleary is I think he's a very nice guy, a very likable guy, and a really good player. I did say when he first joined the Dundalk, I always thought, you know, looking at him, like, he's a monster in the air, and he's just a real horrible player, I'd say, to play against. And I mean that in a complimentary way for him. It's not nothing bad about him. It's just, you know, when he goes in for the ball, he goes all in for it. He's aggressive. He's exactly what you want in a centre back. It's not like it, as I say, it's a complimentary thing about him. I say the same thing about Aaron Connolly as a striker. You know, just a horrible person to play against. So look, your man can say whatever he wants about Daniel Cleary. When you look at Daniel Cleary tonight, he's playing in the Europa League. Next week he'll be playing at the Emirates against Arsenal. That lad's released from Morecambe and going pretty much nowhere in, well, I don't know about in life, but nowhere in football anytime soon anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sorry,
having said that, though, I know I'm not really laughing, but having said that, I mean, had Daniel Cleary got his chance in that cup tie, he could be still in the Liverpool squad. You know, who knows how things could have turned out. I mean, in football, a lot of things is a bit of luck. You get a break, you get your chance. And yeah, it is. I mean, he is a great player in our league, and it is great for him to be playing in the Europa League. But I think, with all due respects, it would have been absolutely amazing for him if he was in the Liverpool squad going to Amsterdam last night and playing week in, week out in the Premier League. Because much as we all love this league and love our league, I think for any of the players, they would much rather be playing with the likes of Liverpool and Man United. And that's not to disrespect our league or Arsenal or Spurs or Everton, because it is a higher level of football. And it is, I mean, you would become a potential superstar. Now, much as Daniel Cleary is a top centre back in our league, that potentially was his chance to really make a name for himself in Liverpool. And unfortunately, to have your own teammate deliberately sabotage that, it must be really sickening for him, you know. And I don't know. It's awful to see, but it's also the stupidity of the guy to actually admit it. Because I mean, no matter what people could suspect, I mean, we've all made bad tackles in our day as footballers. Certainly, you wouldn't do it maliciously. You certainly wouldn't do it to your own teammate in training. But they can happen. It can just be accidental, and there will always be, even if he left the doubt about it. But to actually come out and say it is awful
Oh,
to see. You know,
McElhenney looked like he'd done something bad to his knee there. He's signaling to go off. He's only just came
he
on.
looks in pain. Yeah.
He's holding his knee. That could be his ACL or something. It looked really, really bad. It was the way he landed in that tackle. Just as you're talking about bad tackles there, I don't think the lad meant it. Now it was the way he landed more so. There.
Oh, I think in fairness,
that looks bad.
it's just the way he landed. Definitely, yeah, wasn't it the Molde?
I have a horrible thing about knee injuries. Obviously, at the moment, I'm actually coming back from a knee injury myself. It's just horrible. Even the one with Van Dijk the other day was a horrendous challenge as well by Pickford. But just knee injuries are just so horrible because they're just one of those areas that you can't really do anything to really fix them that well, you know.
Yeah, it's just
and some players, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just like it just seems to take a lot longer than some other injuries. Like it's sickening for some lads who you think, oh, they're doing great, and then they get the knee injury, they're out for about a year, and oh, Arsenal are in again. Good defending. Oh wait, nah, gone. Yeah, no, the knee always seems to be the worst one, but
he's running off anyway, which is it's a good sign that he's up and running. I don't know if he's going to come back on, but he didn't need a stretcher or didn't need to be helped. Hopefully,
he might have just
he's okay.
Jarred it, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah, because it looked bad for the way he was doing that to the bench. So, well, anyway, I hope he's a fantastic player. Like everyone goes on about how good he is. A lot of the Dundalk players and fans reckon he's the best player at the club. You know, even ahead of Duffy.
Well, there's a lot of competition. They've Chris Shields at the club as well, who's a superb player. We mentioned Daniel Cleary, top player. Yeah, you can keep going. Pat Hooban is in the shout as well. I mean, well, you can see Dundalk are a real quality side, and you don't get to this stage of the Europa League without having top quality players.
Yeah, here's Daniel Cleary bringing the ball into the opposition's half. He gets hacked down, and the
referee! He gives a free kick, and Dundalk would terrible not playing the advantage there. Daniel Cleary was hacked down, as you said, Paul, but the ball had run through, and Dundalk were.
Yeah, and he's calling for a yellow card for the number 17.
Call it back, you know. It's really frustrating. Still, it is a free kick to Dundalk just inside the half. Chris Shields on the ball.
That's Molde showing their I suppose experience in Europe, winning those types of fouls and just doing things like that. It's a fairly cute kind of way of going about things. Like they'll be doing that, trying to win fouls and all that the whole time now. Although they just put the ball out of play there stupidly.
It's streetwise, it's cynical, whatever you want, but you would want to see your own. It's frustrating when you see an opposition do it, but you would want to see your own team do things like that as well. And I mean, in fairness, Dundalk are streetwise as well. That squad has been, a lot of them have been around our league, around Europe quite a bit in recent years and done really well.
Well, I think that's going to be. Sorry, I thought you were finished. Go on ahead. I'll say.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to break them down now with these last 3 or 4 minutes or whatever is left in added time. But
they're on the break here now. A great header away.
Yeah, corner to Molde. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say what you were talking about streetwise, and I think that's something that our Irish national team probably need to do. I find that we're too nice. We're too nice in everything we do. And I'd just rather we had a snidey little bastard who'd come in and, you know, win these little fouls that we need them to win further up the pitch to get us in these better positions. Because as I said, we're very honest and very nice. And I think someone like a Robbie Brady has that little thing in him that, he'll win you a free kick, and it might be a bit of a shady free kick, but how many times have we seen them given against us? And I would like to see some of our players not cheat the referee, but just be a bit more cute and a bit more, as you say, streetwise and a bit more clever. I think as someone like I could definitely see Troy Parrott being one of those. I think he's shown that at underage level as well. It's not the senior level, and he'd be learning things off. But I was going to say Mourinho, but he would have learned things off him last season, probably at Millwall now. So I think we will have it, but I would like to see us, as I say, just stop being so nice for our international team. Like I think that's a problem that we have, is we are very nice and kind of lost that little bit of hardship that we have playing against us, I think.
Couple of comments here. Kieran Arthur, do you think Sligo will get Europe? And Rian Thorpe, how long do you think we'll have to wait to see an Irish team get into the Europa League knockouts round of 16? Rihanna, unfortunately, I think the Europa League knockout stages are playing European football after Christmas is a long, long, long way away. I don't see anything in the next 10, 20 years. Sligo getting Europe, it's a good shout, Kieran. It's going to be close. I mean, they've Cork at home. I think they've got to travel to Dundalk. And I presume you're talking about fourth spot. I think Dundalk will get third in the end, and Rovers and Bows obviously being 1 and 2. Assuming that one of the top three wins the cup, I mean, Europe is wide open. I think Sligo are in with a great shout. Pats are also in the mix there. I think it's probably between the two of them. But you can make a case for Shells, actually. Shells could make Europe. Derry could make Europe. Yeah, Paul is saying Shells. Don't rule it out. I don't think so, Paul. You never know. You never know. I think Sligo are
dream big.
Waterford are in the mix as well. Yeah, it's I couldn't call it, to be honest. It's someone go just win a couple of games, and any of the teams I've mentioned. Have I forgotten anyone now? Because everyone, apart from Finn Harps and Cork, absolutely anybody else can still make Europe, or still make fourth spot, which I presume is what we're talking about. I think Dundalk will end up third. As I said, they just have too much quality and they have the games in hand. So Sean Bonner saying maybe Bohemians. Oh, well, I think Bows are guaranteed second at this point, barring... Actually, if Bows don't get second, they're going to win the league, but that's not going to happen. I think Rovers are safe there. But yeah, so the top three should be Dundalk. I don't think it takes a genius to predict that. Dundalk, Bows and Rovers in reverse order. But fourth place, very tough to call. And yeah, any of the teams we mentioned, I don't think I've forgotten anyone. But I mean, you've got Derry and Shells as outside bets. You have Pats and Sligo very much in the mix. And Waterford, maybe they're still got games to do it, but I'm not so sure about Waterford. They've been a bit hot and cold lately.
Dundalk are just piling on the
6 minutes
here.
of added time. We're already into it, yeah.
It's just, they seem, when they get to the final third, they just look lost for ideas, because Molde get so many players back and they just seem to kind of park the bus a bit, which is clever by them, as I said. But that was a good interception there by Kolovic, and he gets...
Yeah.
There's only one person in the box. That's Cam Dunnigan, sorry, who won that. Oh, no, it is Kolovic, sorry.
Yeah, it was Kolovic.
A bit of a receding hairline.
Yeah, having criticised the referee, he played a very good advantage there when there was a foul on Kolovic and he left him go. So well done, ref, on that one. Maybe he's learned from his previous mistake.
Beautiful passes by Daniel Cleary out wide. The way he hits them and they curve out to the winger. That's a ball into the bar. Oh, goes out for a corner. This could be a good time to score now. The 92nd minute.
Crosses too far. I'm going to get caught.
What?
So, Kieran Orr is asking, will the games against Arsenal and Rapid be at the Aviva? Yes, as far as I know, that the other two games are definitely in the Aviva. And sorry, my computer is packed. And Kieran Arthur says Bows have guaranteed Europe, which is of course correct. The Bows have already qualified for Europe. And
That was a silly shot. Chris Shields wins a free kick.
Yeah. There is a good streetwise, very good player, crucial player for Dundalk, Chris Shields, and but he has the qualities you're talking about as well, Paul. But,
I think he's class.
oh, absolutely, class player. I mean, absolutely crucial player for Dundalk. They really miss him.
The ball into the they almost like headed back out Dundalk. Come on, lads, and it's McElhenney on the ball. It gives it out wide right to who's that? Whips it in. Great ball. Oh, Daniel Cleary should be doing better there. Is that Mountain who whips that ball in again? With the orange boots.
I didn't see who put it in now.
Well done, Kolovich. Oh my God, linesman's flagging free out.
I thought that was a free the other way, was it? Okay.
Cleary should be doing better with that header, I think. I think that is Mountain who whipped it in. But anyway, 2 minutes left, and it's looking like it's going to be a Dundalk defeat, unfortunately. Because I thought they've played well. They've done enough to at least get a point, I would say.
Yeah, no, and I mean, they certainly were much the better team in the first half, and yeah, a bit unfortunate that Molde even drew level. They probably upped the game a little bit, Molde, just as they scored.
The
Again,
just came
taking
on,
the ball into the corner. Yeah, he wins a corner kick again. This streetwise and clever. Fortunately, just going to run down the clock now.
Just before we finish up, is there any good comments? Because we're obviously going to finish up after the game here.
Yeah, just a comment from Billy McCroy. Bigger picture, has the player pathway rule changes helped League of Ireland clubs in Europe? So,
I don't know. Do you want to answer that, Gar?
Yeah, I don't know really. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know whether it's helped or not. I mean, I think just the caliber of the league, the money around the league has probably helped. Just a better standard in Europe. Although some would argue we're probably, even though we've got Dundalk back in the group stages, that maybe there's been a dip in standards in the league in the last 4 or 5 years. So, free kick here from Chris Shields, probably definitely the last chance here, I think.
McElhenney has it, gives it out wide to. Oh God. They have out left.
Last chance
surely
to
the
put it
last
in.
attack now. They need to get this ball in. Shields. He gives it out wide right again. I think that's Mountain. It won't zoom in. It is the orange boots. And a poor ball in. Into the box too.
Oh, it hits its own player, you know.
Still in play. Hooben has it in the box. He gives it out to Mountain.
Last chance to put it in.
Left foot cross. It looks like a poor cross, but maybe not. Oh, false.
Couldn't control it at the far post. Daniel Cleary again. That is definitely it.
Oh, it's a throw in.
He hasn't blown it.
It's a throw in.
He hasn't. We've gone over 30 seconds over the added 6 minutes.
This has to be the last attack.
There was a substitution from Molde, of course, so you get an extra 30 seconds for the substitution.
Oh, someone's out to go down, free out.
Oh, yeah, free out. He's given a free out to Molde, and that's definitely going to be
Gartland.
He's gone down.
There's no VAR in this. Is there?
No VAR in the Europa League, I don't think.
Well, it's a bit of a weird one. Chris Shields absolutely livid. I don't know whether it's the ref or Brian Gartland. But that's surely it. Now the keeper's going to kick this out, and that'll be it, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, just Billy McCroy said, do more.
No, there's a minute left, 2-1. They're just playing down the clock.
Sorry, Gar.
Billy's followed up his comment. Do more changes need to be made to help League of Ireland clubs with regard to the schoolboy sides? Yeah, I don't know really. I mean, maybe it's just too early to tell with this. I mean, I don't know. Full time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Go on, I'm listening to you, mate.
Yeah, so just it's probably too early with the changes in recent years. I mean, certainly, I think it's a good thing that you have a. I like the fact we have all the underage leagues at 13s, 15s, 17s, 19s. I think the League of Ireland clubs should be the top of the pyramid. And so I think that's a good thing, but I think it's probably too early to tell if that's actually going to. I think it will make a difference, but it's probably too early to tell. Say now that it has made a difference. And but I think what it will mean is that the best young players in the country are coached by the best coaches from a young age, and I think that is important. That we have good quality coaching at the elite clubs from under 13s, so that will certainly help.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you there. And I think there is great work being done at all levels around the country. I think that you're seeing that as well. There's a lot of new players kind of coming from a lot of counties that probably weren't producing as many players in the past. You're starting to see a lot more. But yeah, this game is obviously ended. Paul, Arsenal have won. They're probably
Yep.
rightly where they should be now, top of the group here. With
Yeah.
Molde.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, Leno did not help them tonight at all. He done his best to help them to lose the game more so than win it. But once he brought Aubameyang on, you could see the difference there. A bit sharper. He brought Bellerin on as well. He set up Aubameyang's goal as well. So the substitutes had a lot of impact. I mean, the only flaw I can see from that is Leno was. I can't even describe. He made 3 awful mistakes and was only punished for 1 against a better team. Might be 3 mistakes and 3 goals. Even Pat Hooban might take an extra goal. Don't know. So I mean, they've got to get their act together for the next game because it wasn't that great, but it's a good win overall. Obviously disappointing for Dundalk as well, but look.
I think next week the game between Arsenal and Dundalk will be very similar to the AC Milan game. I think you'll see a difference in terms of the players, in terms of their build. Like, I looked at AC Milan's team compared to the Rovers team, and they just look much more athletic. They were just built like a totally different machine. And I think we'll see that again. Not the Rosenborg look, very similar to Dundalk in terms of the shape, but I do think that, that real elite level, that they are a total different breed. Maybe it's that they've been eating right their whole life up to where they are, and they follow a routine absolutely every single day. Whereas I know the lads are playing top level in Ireland, but they are quite normal lads. Whereas I find that the lads at the elite level, they really take care of. Like, look at Zlatan; he's 38 or 39 now, and there wasn't a pick on him. He was in absolutely unbelievable shape, and all the other players were looking at him going, "Wow, like, look at that guy." I think you'll see that maybe with Aubameyang or Lacazette or something like that. I think you'll see the difference in the two. I think you more so see it when you're in person. I don't know if you've seen it on the TV, but for me, I was looking at the two, and I was like looking at the players in comparison. Not even players that were that big of a deal. Like Benaker was the number 4. He was brilliant. Kessie as well. That they're just the shape of them, the build of them. They were unbelievable. I think that's what we'll see next week.
I always remember that as well. Sorry, but I always remember that as well. Like you saying about AC Milan there, I always remember it from when Madrid played Rovers in the friendly in Tala that time, and I just remember Benzema came on, and this guy was towering above lads who were twice his age, which is unbelievable. And the shape of him, as you said, and he's just
So that's what I think you'll see anyway.
Just
Gary, you go on. I was
finished anyway. Sorry, that just goes back to Billy's point in the comments, because you're talking about the conditioning in these players. And you're right. First of all, you're absolutely 100% right. I mean, they are a different level. And I think Arsenal will, unfortunately, be far too good for Dundalk next week. But it goes back to Billy's point in the comments, really, that the young players, even here, being coached by the best coaches and following the best advice from a very young age, would hopefully have the same level of conditioning when they get to 19, 20, 21, as the top players you're seeing at Milan or Arsenal or wherever, any of the top clubs in Europe. So I suppose that's what's trying to be done by identifying the players at a younger age and getting the best players coached by the best coaches and bring them up, hopefully following the proper fitness, nutrition advice, etc. again. So, hopefully, but that is something for the future. But as you said, Paul, it probably didn't come across as much on the TV as you saw in Tala with the Milan players, but it is a different level. And unfortunately, it's going to be shown next week in the Emirates as well for Dundalk. I think Dundalk still have a chance against Rapid and Molde of possibly picking up a point or two. Unfortunately, it looks like even at this stage, qualification for the group will be very, very difficult.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, Paul, you know yourself being an Arsenal fan. I'm sure you're going into that game quite confident that you'll get a result against Dundalk, especially at home at the Emirates. I think maybe Dundalk might be a bit overawed by the situation playing in the Emirates, even without any fans. You know, the stadium's unbelievable, and obviously it's state of the art. Everything, you know, Arsenal do is pretty much state of the art these days. Most top level Premier League clubs are. But I hope that Dundalk can do what Rovers did to Spurs and take an early lead and just, you know, make it an enjoyable game for their fans. Maybe not for you, Paul, but for their fans and neutrals.
Oh yeah, well, like I think if Arsenal play like they did tonight, Dundalk will put it up to them. But like I think the difference with Arsenal is when Aubameyang is in. When he's in and he's flying, they're a much better side. They get very lax at times and they kind of fall asleep. They stutter. Like we know David Luiz throughout his whole career, he's just a mistake waiting to happen. It wasn't him tonight, it was Bernd Leno, who again, I mean, they sold Martinez, who was brilliant up until the end of last season, to put Leno back in. And I mean, he hasn't justified it tonight for me anyway. And those mistakes will be pounced upon by someone eventually if they continue happening. And if Dundalk get their chance next week, I'm sure they'll take it.
Yeah, well, just I'm going to get off now and watch the Celtic AC Milan game. But listen, I really enjoyed this chat. Great to catch up, Paul, because it's been a while since we obviously had you on. Hopefully, we can get you on a bit more over the next few weeks and stuff like that.
Definitely make Europa League Thursdays a thing.
Well, let's make it a thing, yeah, as they say. Gary, always a pleasure. If anyone's watching this and they're new and they're returning, or new or maybe returning, I haven't subscribed, make sure you do, because we're fastly approaching that 9,000 subscribers if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Facebook, head over to YouTube and just give it a subscribe. It won't take you long. And we'll speak to you all soon. I'm sure we'll have some more content to come. Shane Duffy is walking out here for Celtic. So I'm going to hop off. Gary, if you could please kindly end the broadcast whenever you get a chance, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.